Hello everyone, this is Day9 and I'm coming back at y'all with yet another 2K rant of some sort. What could I possibly be rambling about this time? Today's topic is going to be centered around WWE 2K24's AI. Very recently there was a patch that kind of made the AI extra stupid. If this patch didn't do what it did, I probably wouldn't have put into perspective that the AI has kind of been bad for a really long time already. You may be asking why I am tackling the AI when I could be talking about literally anything else, like customization or mode functionality. Well, if you're a regular on this channel, you'll know that the AI gameplay is pretty much the basis of my channel when I'm not playing anything else. For a few years now, I've been running an interactive tournament series for the members of my Discord server. It's basically an eFed where we leave everything in the hands of the AI matches in the game. So you can tell that this topic would be pretty important for me to cover. And while it's funny when the AI is being stupid as hell, I can absolutely say that the matches are better when the AI is going crazy. And in this video, I'm going to be covering as many problems as possible so that what needs to be fixed going forward can be documented in some form. Let's get this rolling, y'all. Alright, this is going to be the easiest section for me to talk about, but it's also going to be the longest. So let's get finishers out of the way. There are various things that are wrong with how the AI behaves and acts when getting ready for a finisher. One thing that sticks out in my mind is the corner versus ground position, as it's named in Create a Moveset. This position has your sweet chin music, punt kicks, spears, etc. Whenever the AI decides that it's time to go for that type of finisher, for whatever reason there is a severe lack of urgency from the wrestler on the way to the corner. They aren't walking as fast as they could to the corner, and it gets to the point where they are in the middle of their trip to the corner, the opponent will just start getting up, and they'll have to knock him down to attempt to go to the corner again. I'm sure it goes without saying that this is worse when the slow walk to the corner takes place after a taunt. If we didn't get the extra finisher slots that we did for each wrestler, those cool corner finishers are going to be the only move that they rely on, and they'll never be able to hit it. That's kind of an issue that needs to be addressed. Next up, we're going to be covering running finishers. The way the AI goes about doing running finishers is partially strange. It's like they established their own meta to use. In this game and in the past games, you'll notice that the AI opts to do two different running finisher setups. Running start finishers, which is, regular running finishers, and Irish whip rebound finishers. Running finishers make perfect sense. You'll wait till you have an opportunity to go in for the kill and bam, they get hit with the spear out of nowhere or something. Irish whip rebound finishers sound like they should make sense. Like those should be fine. You catch a running opponent off guard with a finisher and stop them dead in their tracks. This makes perfect sense on paper. Unfortunately, the AI doesn't think so. What the AI thinks should simulate a wrestling match is setting up a running finisher as an Irish whip rebound finisher. I understand that for things like a spine buster, a big boot, and other things you'd force your opponent to run into the ropes for, those make sense as Irish whip rebound finishers. On what planet are you manually setting up your opponent to run into a Superman punch? When do you ever see Ilya Dragunov send his opponents off the ropes so he can hit a Torpedo Moscow? How about JBL, huh? You ever see this man do an Irish whip to set up a clothesline from hell? Hell nah. All three of those and plenty of other running moves in the 2K games should not be prioritized as an Irish whip rebound maneuver. The rebound running move route should be a very rare occurrence utilized by the AI. Instead, the AI should only use running start finishers, regular running finishers again. Almost anyone with a running finisher will do a rebound running finisher way more than a normal running finisher, and that should also be addressed. This has been happening for the last 3 games now, and it's kind of weird because they don't exactly run off the ropes like you would normally see. Roman does it all the time on TV. That should be replicated and prioritized more than rebound running finishers. It's a little weird. Speaking of multi-game issues, there's one little issue I'm going to tackle here. Tag team finishers. I'm convinced that the AI are just programmed in a way that they are incapable of actually triggering tag team finishers. I can almost guarantee that they will never do a tag finisher in a regular tag match. You know, in 2K23, there was a problem where tag team finishers just defaulted for custom teams. Like, they just defaulted to none. And I think that problem carried over to 2K24, but I think even default teams are just incapable of doing their tag finishers. The AI being unable to do finishers as a result of their own behavior is a very, very unfortunate trend, and it's a trend we're not done covering yet. Speaking of which, ground finishers are kinda terrible with the AI. Whenever their opponent's just selling, the AI just doesn't know how to handle that. If they're going for a finisher, they just stand there like fumbling, looking around like, oh, what do I do here? Players can trigger grounded finishers just fine, by the way. It's mainly ground side finishers that I notice it's a very huge problem for the AI though, because they really just don't know what to do. It's so odd. You know what else is odd? The catapult finisher success rate. In this game, catapult finishers only work 50% of the way through. This has been the same case since 2K22, I want to say. I mean that literally, by the way. The AI would just do the catapult and not follow through with their finisher. They would literally launch their opponent in the air and do nothing and let them hit the ground. It looks so awkward. Along with that issue, they removed the priority it had when the opponent runs at you a good bit ago. I want to say on 2K17 PS4 is when they did that. Because of that change, catapult finishers don't even have their out of nowhere effect that made them fun. Guess what you had to do with these? The only way you as a player can trigger them is by manually setting them up as if it were an Irish whip rebound maneuver, which I already expressed my dislike for when covering running finishers, but I'll say it again. For the AI, the go-to solution should not be making your opponent run the ropes to do a move. It takes away that surprise out of nowhere factor, making the match all too predictable. WWE 2K14 to 17 on last gen had it just right, and it should probably be either reworked or reverted. Catapult finishers need some love. Now this next topic is going to be covering the last part of the finisher section of this video. There was a lot to talk about regarding finishers. This one's going to be centered around diving finishers, and this will really have two parts because there's another part of diving finishers that were just ignored in the recent games. But we'll get to that when we get there. Let's talk about diving finishers first. In this game, there are plenty of people who have moves that require them to turn around on the turnbuckle. Why? There's already an animation in this game for people to climb up facing away from the opponent. This is a purely visual thing, as you can hear already. Why not program the AI to automatically face the other way when going for a top rope move like that? This is especially annoying when it comes to finishers. For example, let's talk about Io Sky. When she goes up to the top turnbuckle in real life to set up the over the moonsault, does she ever climb the turnbuckle facing her opponent? Does she have to turn around while on the buckle to go for the moonsault? No, she faces away from the opponent to go for the over the moonsault as quick as possible. That's what her and everyone with an away-facing diving move should do. I know this may seem like a minor detail to bring attention to, but the thing is, this feature has been in the game since either 2K18 or 2K19. Players can easily do it themselves. It makes me wonder why they even added the away-facing options and create a moveset if you can't see it regularly without being the one to do it. Io Sky even has her own animation dedicated to setting up her moonsault in the game. It has been in the game since 2K20. At this point, we should really work into the AI's behavior for both finishers and regular away-facing diving moves. In the case of regular moves, just have the AI know which diving move they're going for so that they can decide whether or not they're going to face towards or away from their opponent. And it goes without saying that the AI should absolutely know what they're going to do when setting up a diving finisher. That's all I gotta say about diving finishers themselves, but let's move on to catching finishers. I already talked about catapult finishers earlier, so it only makes sense if I talk about the foundation of that feature. Catching finishers were introduced in WWE 13 and has been in the game since then. I could talk about the dated animations, I could talk about the lack of new moves given, I could even talk about how some of the moves only make sense as catching finishers and not both catching and catapult finishers. But we're here to talk about the behavior of the AI. So what is my problem with catching finishers in the context of this video? What problem could I possibly have if not any of the mentioned issues before? Some of you might be a little confused. Funny thing is, I wouldn't exactly blame you, because I really wouldn't be surprised if some of you were like, those are still in the game? I can confidently say that you can go through an entire lifetime of this game without seeing a proper catching finisher take place at all. I can say this because ever since the engine went through a much needed rebuild in 2K22, I have personally not seen a single catching finisher since 2K20. I personally haven't been able to hit one myself, but that's probably a skill issue. But I for sure have not seen the AI try it, and I have a feeling I know why the AI doesn't do it. I think this is a side effect of the games being heavily animation based, and a lot of the time, the AI and players are just incapable of carrying out certain functions of the game because of it. Examples of this include not being able to attack someone in the middle of a springboard attack, not being able to attack someone just entering the ring. The moment someone starts the animation of getting up from the ground, someone on the middle or top buckle becomes incapable of doing their diving finisher. Some moves being immune to being broken up, and plenty more than I wish to spend more time on. In the case of catching finishers, it's especially bad because there are two things that happen often that decrease the likelihood of them happening by way more than they should. The recipient of damage selling too long for the catching finisher prompt to even show up, and the stun function. These two things simply do not allow catching finishers to show up for you. And this is especially bad for the AI, because they will really never do it because of that. I think the requirements for being able to do a catching finisher need to be toned down a good bit to work within the new gameplay style. I think as a player, you need to be in an unstunned state, standing up normally nowadays. Anyone who's seen their share of AI matches knows very well that the AI will not go for a diving move unless their opponents are in the middle of a selling animation. This pretty much prevents catching finishers from even having a chance of happening, even with the stun meter off. This is not how it was from WWE 13 to 2K17 last gen. All you needed to do a proper catching finisher was a stored finisher, which made perfect sense because the work to get a finisher was enough. In WWE 13, you could be stunned, groggy, and still be able to counter a diving or springboard move with a catch finisher because it's a perfect punish. I don't think there's ever going to be a valid reason for the way catching finishers work to have been changed. Personally, I say it just needs to be reverted to how it was before. And finally, I am done with everything primarily finisher related that's on my notes. We can now move on to what is essentially the second half of this video. This half will mostly be centered around the behavior of the AI within certain match objectives. I said that the recent patch brought this video to life, and this second half is pretty much when the light bulb turned on for me here. So let's talk about the AI's odd responses to certain match types. In many no DQ matches, ones that allow you to exit the ring, you will see the AI go out for weapons, as they should of course. The last thing I would want is for AI matches to be the same in nature all around. My problem, however, is the fact that they often prioritize weapon usage over finishers that they have stored. The AI can have 3 finishers, yet they'll still opt to go and grab a weapon to either actually use on their opponent, or, in the case of tables and doors at times, just pick up to immediately put down. Clearly something is wrong here. This fixation on weapons also comes at the cost of the whole match because it delays the match way too long. This is the most prominent in Extreme Rules matches, where the AI is just obligated to get every single weapon in the match. It's almost a guarantee that all weapons will be pulled out before the match is over every single time. This should not just be the set outcome every single time. Hardcore people should be more focused on looking for weapons, while your cowardly heels and technical wrestlers should be focused on like 1 to 2 weapons and that's it. By the way, the wrestler traits and individual AI settings do not work well enough. This sort of thing bleeds into other matches too, but instead of me repeating myself for all of those, we'll jump into this relatively shorter topic. Why does the AI have to run almost a lap around the ring to get in the ring? Why does the most minor inconvenience prevent them from just moving slightly to the right to enter the ring? This is something I notice too much. If there is something blocking their way into the center of the ring, they're just not getting in on that whole side. It's so weird and I just don't get it. Us players have no issue entering the ring on each respective side, regardless of obstacles. So the AI should absolutely be able to do the same. We're done with that one already. This next one, however, ooh boy! Tag team matches. Let's start with the regular ones. I hate tag team matches. I have hated them for so long. I hate watching them because through dumb means, the matches last way longer than they should. I'd be fine if some matches lasted long for valid reasons, but they absolutely do not. I'm going to take you back in time real quick. Let's head back to SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. That game had tag matches as one of the main focal points in terms of marketing. You remember DayIX being on the cover and that trailer showcasing tag team finishers with the Hardys versus another tag team. That was, to showcase that was the game to introduce tag team finishers. But we already talked about those not working in modern games, so instead we're going to talk about a few other things that 09 did to innovate tag team matches, alright? When the legal man hits a finisher on the other, their tag partner knows to come in and attempt to knock the tag partner off the apron because the legal man is absolutely going to go for the pin. Makes perfect sense, right? What else did they do? Oh yeah, the hot tag feature. In 09, the hot tag was a very different animal compared to what it is now. Hot tags only happened once in a tag match, but to make up for that, it gave the partner that was tagged in an opportunity to get a finisher. All it took was a short QuickTime event. Most may say that's OP, and I wholeheartedly agree, but it damn sure made hot tags more of an important part of a tag match. If that was the version we had nowadays, I'd say it should at least fill up the signature meter. There's one more thing that I'm sure originated in older WWE games AI-wise, and just a note here, I'm well aware of the tag commands being reintroduced for this game, but the system is almost primitive in comparison to what I'm about to mention. In these old tag matches, when there's a pin going on, one tag partner is absolutely rushing to intercept the other tag partner from breaking up the pin every single time. The partner of the person pinning is not just sitting out there waiting for the other partner to break it up or for the person being pinned to kick out. That partner is trying to put up some top tier defense no matter what, despite the fact that in some old games, they just walk to their opponent. We're just going to look past that, alright? But it still worked. All of those features are so simple. But what do we have now? A ring entry ban? Infinite and meaningless hot tags? Lazy AI partners, basically? What are we doing here? Tag matches have legitimately regressed over time, and it needs some serious work. Let's just jump straight into this one. In various matches, the AI is just incapable of acting the way they should. For example, in multi-man matches that aren't elimination based, you only see like 1 or 2 people actually rushing to break up the pin. The AI should all stop what they're doing, if they aren't in an animation of course, and prevent a pin from taking place. They don't do that. Even worse, in multi-man elimination tag matches, some people are not rushing to save their partner for whatever reason. Like in non-elimination tag matches, they should act immediately. They do not do that either. The inability to break up pins isn't exclusive to tag matches, by the way. I have it on good authority that every multi-man match past 3 people will have one AI simply not rushing to break up the pin, and it's baffling to watch. Let's deviate from pins one moment to talk about ladder matches. The AI are at their absolute worst in these matches. In triple threat or fatal 4-way matches, you have a very good chance of witnessing one of the quickest ladder matches you have ever seen in your life. There's one dumb thing that the AI is programmed to do. When someone is going for a championship or briefcase and is in the middle of the minigame, an opponent will strike the opponent on the ladder from the ground once and will either attempt to push the ladder over or attempt to climb. This process gives the superstar on the ladder so much time to complete the minigame. That's insane. And if it's more than 4 people, you have a good chance of seeing one of the longest matches of your life. For a solid 7 minutes, potentially more, the members involved will forget that they're in a ladder match. After that, they'll then proceed to repeat the process of smaller ladder matches, except this time, more people are programmed to actually stop the person on the ladder. The odd AI movement even extends to the referee for whatever reason. The ref takes ages to actually count the pin because they're taking the dang scenic route to see the shoulders down. They also get too close when counting the pins to the point where they're slapping the superstars' faces. Thankfully, not really, the amount of time passed on pins doesn't affect how critical the pin is, or else this would be a very serious issue for match length. You know, since we're on about matches being delayed, let's talk about the worst match possible when it comes to length. Hell in a Cell matches. Dude, them removing the false count anywhere rule eventually became the worst thing to happen to this match in the games. It isn't exactly too bad when the AI is incapable of leaving the cell, as that would just lead to a boring match. But when they almost leave every single Hell in a Cell match, it will feel like the match will never end. It will never end, man. The moment they go up to the top of the cell, they will do everything except break through. I cannot stand sitting through these matches. These matches used to be my favorite back then. Now I hate watching them with all of my heart. And yeah, if they don't break through the cell, they'll just end up spamming the ringside grapples until they just about do a whole lap around the ring. They rarely even get weapons in these matches, which I would think 2K would take advantage of since they made a big deal about it when they introduced it. But no, they just... it's like they forgot or something. Oh, and if you thought one-on-one Hell in a Cell matches were bad, good God. The old school Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. The classic 6-man Hell in a Cell match. Mark my words, this is the only infinite match in the entire game. It is never ending, for the reasons listed before, but with 6 people. I was watching a 6-man Hell in a Cell match, the one that you're seeing right now, for an hour. They all went to the top of the cell, broke all the panels, only one person fell through, so no one took advantage of that. All of them ended up back in the ring at one point, and eventually, every single one of them decided, there's no panels up there, but you know what, we're gonna climb right back up there. Every single one of them made it to the top of the cell with no panels up there, so they couldn't just break through on, like, off chance. There was no end in sight. I couldn't even watch the whole damn match. The moment I saw they all made it back up there, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm not watching the rest of this match. I don't need that much footage. Hell in a Cell just sucks now, man. And that is it. These are my opinions and thoughts on the state of WWE 2K24's AI. I've been watching AI matches in these games for probably way too long now, and I felt like attention needs to be drawn to them because better AI in these games will bring the series one step closer to being the authentic WWE experience that 2K and Visual Concepts wants to make and that we as customers want. Folks, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to thank you for coming along for the ride here. This is probably the longest scripted video I've ever done, and I'm honestly proud of the fact that I put work into this one. If you want, you can like and subscribe. Also, drop down in the comments what thoughts you have on the video, or what you want to see fixed with the WWE 2K games. Until then, this has been Day9, and I'll see y'all some other time.